I do want to ask a little bit about your personal story because voters nationwide are just getting to know you. You grew up in Oklahoma.
I did.
And you've talked about how your family stood at the brink.
What?
One person from Oklahoma.
There we go.
Welcome to Mississippi.
Okay.
So you talked about how your family stood at the brink of financial disaster through a good part of your childhood. How has that shaped your life in the Senate?
So I'll tell you about that. So I have 3 older brothers. They all went off and joined the military. That was their ticket to America's middle class. I was the late in life baby. My mother always just called me the surprise. And about the time I was in middle school, my daddy had a heart attack. And it was serious. Thought he was going to die. The church neighbors brought covered dishes. It was a scary time. He survived, but he couldn't go back to work. And we lost our family station wagon. And at night, I'd hear my parents talk. And that's where I learned words like mortgage and foreclosure. And I remember the day that I walked into my parents' bedroom, and laying out on the bed is the dress. And some people here will know the dress. It's the one that only comes out for weddings, funerals, and graduations. And my mother's in her slip, and she's stocking feet, and she's pacing back and forth, and she's crying. She's saying, "We will not lose this house. We will not lose this house." She was 50 years old. She'd never worked outside the home. She was truly terrified. And I watched her while she finally just pulled it together, put that dress on, put on her high heels, blew her nose, and walked to the Sears and got a minimum wage job. And that minimum wage job saved our house, but more importantly, it saved our family. Anybody who wants to know me has just heard the story. But here's the thing for me now. For a long time, I used to think that was just a story about my mother. How when you get scared, you reach down, you find what you have to find, and you bring it up. And then years later, I came to understand this is a story about millions of Americans who, it doesn't matter if you're scared. When you got to do something to take care of people you love, you reach down, you find it, and you pull it up. And then it was years later that I came to understand it was also a story about government. Because when this happened to my family, the minimum wage in America would support a family of 3. It would take care of a mortgage, utilities, and put food on the table. Today in America, a full-time minimum wage job will not keep a mama and a baby out of poverty. I am in this fight because I believe that is wrong. You know, it's for me, there's the whole story of why I'm in this fight. Washington once asked the question, at least on minimum wage, what does it take to support a family, to get a little toe in the door? Today, I hear them in Washington. They ask, what will improve the profitability of giant multinational banks? Well, I want a government that doesn't work for giant multinational corporations. I want one that works for little families like mine.